right now, Senge Tsering, who's a Gilgit-Baltistan activist, who's joining me right now. Thank you very much for joining us. And my first question about what has been the reaction of the people of Gilgit-Baltistan to Operation Sindoor, the military strike that has hit Pakistan?
I think in order to answer to your question, we have to look at what Gilgit-Baltistan has been going through in the last 5, 6 years. Yeah, um, a lot of people in Gilgit-Baltistan, they have realized that Pakistan and China have colluded and put their act together to encroach on local land, and that has brought thousands and thousands of people out on the road, protesting against this occupation, this encroachment. So the relationship of Gilgit-Baltistan with Pakistan has deteriorated adversely and very sharply in the last few years. On top of that, the locals do not have access to basic needs. And there's no electricity, there's no water, there's no health and educational facilities. People do not have jobs, and those people who are working cannot afford because there are no salary, there's no money with the government to pay the salaries. So you can see that the relationship is already very coarse. It's has its own bottlenecks, its challenges, and on top of that, terrorism was a major issue for Gilgit-Baltistan. So whenever something happens where people in whether in Kashmir or Afghanistan or Balochistan, other parts of the country, they suffer. People of Gilgit-Baltistan feel that they are the victims, and Pakistani military is behind all these crimes. That's why in the last few years you saw that, on the streets of Skurdo and Gilgit, we saw and heard the slogans of "ये जो दहशतगर्दी है इसके पीछे पड़ती है." That's a huge shift in the way local people believe in what the Pakistan army is capable of, promoting terrorism for its own interest. So when Pahalgam happened, it was very sad for the people of Gilgit-Baltistan as well. They did not want that to happen to the poor people who had just come to Kashmir to enjoy their, summer vacation. And at the same time, didn't know the importance of, what tourism is to the economy of Kashmir, Ladakh, Gilgit-Baltistan. So they feared that something might, happen, and that could also affect their own economy in Gilgit-Baltistan, right in the middle of, when tourists are arriving or they're about to arrive, made their bookings and stuff. So I think these things put together, they, felt that this should not continue. Pakistan has been promoting terrorism, has been promoting anarchy and instability in the region. Just the Pakistani military could go ahead with its own nefarious designs of maintaining control over the regime, control over the natural resources, control over the land. And since the local people were already tired and angry at Pakistani military and the Chinese occupying their lands and natural resources and not, sharing the revenues and stuff. I think they felt very angry at whatever has happened. And when it came to Operation Sindoor, for instance, they saw that as an aftermath, as a consequence of Pakistan doing something and initiating something that should not happen in the first place. So this was the reaction of the local people. They are very sad at Pakistan's foreign policy and bad relationship that it has created with its neighbors, Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, and sorry, India. And they also have this idea that China and Pakistan, they work together to destabilize India. So um, I think these are the issues that are very much on top of their mind when they're looking at a situation like this.
The brutality with which the people of Pahalgam in Kashmir were killed, the people of Gilgit-Baltistan can relate to it at the level of torture that Pakistan state is capable of. How do you react to it?
True, very true. I mean, people of Gilgit-Baltistan have suffered for the last 70 years primarily because they're Shias and all these terrorists, they consider the Shias non-Muslims. So they attack Shias exactly in the same way. They used to come to Gilgit, they used to come to Baltistan. They would establish their camps there. They would establish their hideouts there, and threaten the economic stability and the social cohesion in Gilgit-Baltistan. And while I was working there, I remember a lot of incidents happened where the local people were the victim. They were killed. Buses were stopped, ID cards were checked. If anyone was Shia, he was like singled out or she was singled out. And there were a lot of people who were killed, mostly men. Women suffered. Children were rendered fatherless and orphan, and their siblings, they were killed. Anyone who was of adult age, suffered because of these terrorist attacks, and that used to happen on the main highways in Gilgit-Baltistan. Government would not do much. I mean, in 1988, I mean, it's a long time past, but it is one of the incidents that I cannot forget, because a lot of our friends suffered during that time. And Pakistani government, they send these terrorists to Gilgit-Baltistan to kill and displace and rape local women. And then the Pakistani federal ministers, they, encourage them to do all that. And I mean, so Pahalgam incident is something that, people of Ladakh, people of Gilgit-Baltistan, people of Kashmir, they all feel that these are the incidents that happen only because Pakistan has a solid backing and support and logistical support provided to these terrorists. And Pakistan has a long-term strategic benefit that comes out of promoting terrorism in the region, and that's why when something happens like in Pahalgam, people in Gilgit-Baltistan know that there's too close to to Ladakh and Jammu Kashmir, and this would affect them as well. So they very much feel the pain, as well as do understand, because they are all seen all of the people in different parts of Jammu and Kashmir and Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir as well feel that they're in the same boat. It is going to affect them, no matter whether it's happening in their own valleys or not.
What can you tell us about these terror camps that Pakistan has set up in Pakistan occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan particularly?
LAT and Jaish-e-Mohammed, these are the long arms of Pakistani military. They are the terrorists without uniform. Pakistan Army is a terrorist with uniform. Both of them share their weapons and their logistics and their planning, and they all have their camps in different parts of Pakistan, especially in Punjab and Jammu Kashmir. They have also established their presence in Balochistan, for instance, in some parts of KPK, where they used to have these collaboration with Afghan Taliban and other Taliban at the time when Taliban were friends with Pakistan. Many Punjabi Taliban, they used to go to Afghanistan for training. This is, an overall this game plan of Pakistani army to create all these non-state actors to engage with India and promote anarchy in Jammu and Kashmir. I have spoken against them because these people, they have threatened the peace and harmony in Gilgit-Baltistan, other parts of the land. Many of them, they have attacked local Shias and Nurbakhshis and Ismailis. In places like Rizr, for instance, these elements, they would come and kidnap local girls and rape them and forcefully, marry them. So, a lot of incidents that have happened when I was working there, when I lived there. I felt like, it would affect our social fabric. It would destroy our peace. And we, the people, we do not prescribe to any of this, way of life. So we have spoken against them, and I'm very happy that India has worked hard and focused on establishing technology that has such a precision that it has surprised the entire world. And it is really important, what India has sent a very clear message to Pakistani military that this cannot go on. And if in future it happens, India obviously will have to react and do something a little bigger than what it has already done. It's not going to be the repeat of these maneuvers. It is going to be much larger. So I think Pakistan Army, hopefully, although I do not have any trust or faith in the Pakistani government or the military, but let me say that, hopefully for the next couple of years, there will be peace in the region. And that is something that is really important, peace for everyone, so we can have development in India, in Gilgit-Baltistan, in PoK. And this is something that matters to the local people.
The Indian forces have hit the terror camps, retaliated and presented a full-blown proof of hitting Pakistan air bases from Skardu to Karachi. Parts of Western media are peddling Pakistan victory propaganda. What is your take on it?
I mean, we have to understand that, it is in the interest of the Pakistani military to expand it as much as possible. That is how it is going to draw attention back to Jammu and Kashmir, that it had lost in the last several years, but with successful Indian diplomacy, India was able to contain the unwanted and unwarranted attention that was coming from the West. And, this is what was like oxygen to the Pakistani military. So, we were all expecting that at some point something like that was going to happen. And I believe that, Pakistani military had full backing, 100% backing of regional great power before they embarked on this journey. I believe that, they talked to their friends in the region, and they all must have agreed that, that international community ignoring the issue of Jammu and Kashmir, for instance, international community standing with India, international community, especially the Muslim countries in the Middle East standing with India. These are all signs of successful diplomacy that India was showing. For the first time in a very long time, I think India, with this government, was on the right track of development and becoming, a country that it ought to. It is supposed to, with so much wealth and natural resources, it should have that much weight, a strategic weight in the region. So we were all expecting that this was something that, Pakistani military would do to draw attention back to Jammu and Kashmir. And when India attacked the terrorist camps, it was a chance for Pakistan to just expand the war a little bit and, attack installations in India, or, especially if you look at, in the Jammu sector and Punjab and other areas, they were also attacking. Unfortunately, I'm not surprised that, this is Pakistan's way of dealing with business like that, but they were attacking the civilians, which is really, shameful that Pakistan was doing. But anyways, it was successful in bringing in the international community. And unfortunately, Pakistan is very good with propaganda. They lie a lot. Most of the stuff they say is just exaggeration of things that, don't matter much. And that's how they've been, as long as they can convince their own people on the ground, their own domestic, population, and the people in parts of Pakistan stand with the Pakistani military, they think that, it's a victory for them. So this is something that, Pakistan has been playing this game. But I do believe that, they should not do something like that again, because next time, as I said, India is not going to just, do what it has already done. It is going to be a little bit more, more effective, more impactful. And I think that is something that would eventually lead to the permanent damage to Pakistan.
Right, absolutely. What do the people of Gilgit-Baltistan think about Prime Minister Narendra Modi and India's new doctrine against terror in Pakistan?
Tell you, what I think, I'm really thankful that this Indus Water Treaty has been put in abeyance. I've been trying to communicate and persuade the Indian government officials, as well as, other parts of the society, that this Indus Water Treaty has been in place to entertain the needs of Pakistan at the cost of people of Gilgit-Baltistan. So it hurts the interest of people of Gilgit-Baltistan. They don't get any royalties, any usage compensation, any water amount of water that they need. Why? Because the Indus Water Treaty, accommodates the needs of people in Punjab and Sindh and other areas, even before, the needs of upper riparian right, like the people in Gilgit-Baltistan and Ladakh. So I think this is something that, part of Operation Sindoor, the non-military aspect of Operation Sindoor, has really, made people like me very happy. We hope that if we don't have Article 370, it's gone. If we don't have Indus Water Treaty, this is going to bring, fresh ideas to the management of the local resources and local land and local governance. And this is really important. We need to move away from all those colonial structures that were created to restrict the aspirations and the needs of the local people, just for the sake of, accommodating the needs of people in GHQ and Punjab. So that is something that really important. People of Gilgit-Baltistan should definitely look at PM Modi with a lot of respect, with a lot of admiration, because this is the person who doesn't joke around. He means what he says, and he does that, and he has accomplished so much in such a short time, compared, like, previous all the prime ministers put together and their dynastic eras. Um, we had some unfortunate incidents, in the 1940s and 50s and 60s, and that has taught us lesson that India has to undo with. So hopefully, we will be moving towards on the right track. As far as Gilgit-Baltistan's future is concerned, as I said, local people have realized that they have no faith in Chinese and the Pakistani usurpers and encroachers. They need fresh ideas and fresh ways to, like, for local management of land and resources. And India has proven to be a very competent democracy, very much like, flourishing, growing economy. And our relationship with India must grow at the same pace, and hopefully we'll be able to join India very soon.
The people of Balochistan have announced the Republic of Balochistan. What is stopping Gilgit, Baltistan and Pakistan occupied Kashmir from doing the same?
Every day is a right time. Every moment is the right moment. Every minute is the right minute to re-merge Gilgit-Baltistan with the rest of India. No moment is late. We need to work on that. But as far as Balochistan is concerned, I think, it's very heartening. It makes me very happy to see that Baloch are uniting, and they are working on their independence to live with dignity, with respect, and free, nation as part of the world. Gilgit-Baltistan is part of India, and I think the cookie, is eventually going to crumble. So we will see, not just Balochistan, but hopefully, other nations emerging, and the Pashtuns, reuniting with their brother in Afghanistan, Gilgit-Baltistan joining their brother in Ladakh. I think these are the moments that we all live for. So I would say that Operation Sindoor, it is not only that it has sent a very strong message against terrorism to Pakistan and the rest of the world, but it has also helped India check the impact and effectiveness of its own weaponry. And that is great to see, because I bet there are, like, a lot of people out there impressed with the way, with precision and with effectiveness that that India has been able to use its weaponry. That in future, if India were ever to be to use its military to regain control of Gilgit-Baltistan, it would not be that hard as it was once thought of a few decades.
What help do the people of Pakistan occupied Kashmir and Gilgit need from India for their liberation?
As citizens of India, we are all natives of Gilgit-Baltistan. We're all citizens of India, and we look towards India as motherland. And our relationship is just timeless. That is the difference between
Yes,
India as a
that's
civilization, as a nation, and Pakistan just being as an experiment. That we have always been Indians, and by identity and by culture, attached to this land. So India has a responsibility towards us, and that responsibility is right now, if it's not physical, then it's definitely diplomatic. Um, we people in Gilgit-Baltistan have finally realized, and Pakistan is not a country that we thought, it would be when it comes to looking after the people of Gilgit-Baltistan and taking care of the well-being of people of Gilgit-Baltistan. So I think this is the time that, Indians and people of Gilgit-Baltistan need to re-engage, and, we need to work together. We need to make a lot more noise than, we are already doing. And hopefully that eventually India will be able to, with its friends at the international, floor, be able to help Gilgit-Baltistan, um, move itself physically, move itself out of the clutch.
Are we now close to witnessing a complete breakup of Pakistan, a complete implosion due to the Pakistani army's misadventures against India?
It's very hard to say that, we are moving in that direction, that's for sure. How close we are to that point, the tipping point, it's something that, it's very hard to gauge. International community would not allow Pakistan to fall like that. It has to be in controlled manner, even if it has to be fragmented. It all depends on, how effective India's role is in the region, right? It also depends on how relationship between India and West move. But at the same time, I would say that, what Pakistan Army has done, and in reaction to what India has done in the form of Operation Sindoor, attacking its, air bases, for instance, attacking most of its military installations, for instance, air defense system in Lahore, for instance. That shows that, it gives a lot of courage to people like the Baloch freedom fighters. It also brings a lot of courage to people in Afghanistan as well as the TTP. So you would see that, their attacks would be more synchronized, and they would be more frequently engaging with the Pakistani military than before. I'm not necessarily saying that, India would have any hand in it, but what I would see coming in future is that, this awe that people were living in, as a Pakistani military is some sort of undefeatable structure. I think that curtain has been removed, and a lot of Pakistani themselves, I think they are really worried about the future of their country now that India has effectively subdued Pakistan in the matter of less than a week. So I think in future you will see more synchronized and more frequent attacks from Baloch and the Pashtuns, and that is something that I think Pakistani military have to be worried about. So we are in that moving in that direction, and how fast and Pakistani structure will fragment and fall is something that it's to be seen.
Senge Tsering, thank you very much for speaking to NewsX. On that note, I slip into a short break. Thanks for watching NewsX.